Folks, you're listening to Real Laughs right here on 104.1. I'm Mike Hurley, joined in virtual studio tonight with two of my very good friends. As always, Miguel Colon Jr. is in the house. Miguel, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I fell into I took the day off today of work. I wasn't feeling the greatest. And I had all these plans of things I was going to do. And then I was like, oh, I haven't watched the Book of Boba Fett yet. And then that's it. That's all I've been doing. Yeah.
And see, that's funny, man, because I did the same thing. Like, you and I are like, we don't know what to do if we're not working. Like, if we're not working, it's like, what am I? So when you take a day off, it's a big deal. Like when I call out, I called out last week from the TV studio and got like so many messages like, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, I just have a cold. That's it.
Yeah.
Also joining us in studio, and I haven't had this guy on in a while. I'm dying to catch up with him, Mr. Scott Maffei in the house. Scott, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing fantastic. It's so good to be back here. It has been a little bit, but you guys have been fully staffed, so it's been that's been nice.
Yeah, it seems like it's been a while. You know, James John can't be here tonight. Ken Miller can't be here tonight. Their significant others won't let them out to play. So we called up Mr. Maffei, and Mr. Maffei was like, I got you guys. Now, I know you were doing the No New Friends podcast for quite some time, and everything was going well. But then you had some other opportunities come along, and you're back to being a busy full-time man. Are you still doing the No New Friends podcast, or is that kind of falling to the wayside?
No. That's like my number one priority. I mean, forget about the job thing that I do. Yeah, we're still doing it. We're about to hit 10,000 downloads. Probably in about
a week.
Yeah. We've hit some momentum. It's going very well. We're on episode 80 something. So yeah, it's going good.
We're on episode like 720 something, but that's cute.
Yeah,
I know. I saw that you did a couple weeks ago. It was 666. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. The podcast that I left to do this was called The Obligatory Podcast with Kermit and Mike.
They just hit 10,000.
And they are now the Nah Dude podcast. And the funny thing is, even though I left to do this, I didn't really leave. It just became a scheduling thing where Kermit was trying to do both podcasts. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm doing the Real Laughs thing. You're doing the Nah Dude. We can put the Obligatory podcast to bed for now. And just last week, I started getting all these notifications because they never took me off being an administrator of all our social media stuff for the Obligatory podcast, and they were kind of using like the Obligatory network as an umbrella for the Nah Dude.
Yeah.
So Kermit thought he was all on the sly, just went and started changing it to everything Nah Dude and rebranding it to everything Nah Dude. So now every time they hit like a 10,000 downloads, I'm getting like these ding, 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 ding notifications. And it's kind of like your ex-girlfriend calling you up to be like, hey, had sex again tonight. He's amazing. And it's not you, you know?
You should like, change the title to all the podcasts. Like Earth is flat. We know it.
I've thought about doing such a thing, and you know what? I should just go ahead and say I'm going to do it, and then do it. And when they complain, I can be like, "See, I told you, none of you listen to Real Laughs because I laid out the plan like a Bond villain. Told you everything I was going to do." And what I also signed up for this week that's really helping me out financially, and we're not getting paid for this, but this app called Truebill. Have you guys heard about?
I use Truebill. Truebill, right? Man, it let me know. It let me know a couple things that I was still getting charged for.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things I was getting charged for, that I got charged for the past 2 years that I haven't been a part of it, the yearly membership for Podbean, which hosted the Obligatory podcast and the Nah Dude. So it was only like $108, but Pedro and Danny and Kermit, if you're listening, consider it canceled. It's due February 22nd. Find someone else to pay for it. It's not going to be me this year. $108. There you go. So Truebill's been helping me out a lot, man.
It was when I signed up for Truebill, and I signed Busey. When I signed Busey up for Truebill, it was the best because I was like, "Do you recognize any of these things?" And he was like, "No."
Because Busey's the type of guy, and not to cut you off, what Truebill does is it will show you all your recurring charges on your credit or debit cards, anything coming out of your bank account. So all those things that you thought you were slick, like signing up for the 30-day free trial, and after 30 days is going to charge you this, and you're like, I'll just cancel, and you forget, or it was too hard to cancel. It shows you all that. So I imagine with Busey, it's a whole bunch of websites that was free for like 7 days, and now ding.
You know what ours are? I found a lot of free karaoke websites because we had like the big karaoke. You came to when we had the you got to pay for like your songs and stuff. So we never know which one to get, which one has the best catalog. So they'll be like, well, what we'll do is we're like, all right, we'll just sign up for all of them. So you got 7 days with it. We'll see who has the best catalog, and then we'll dump the other ones. And I guess we never did that part. So we're like paying for like 5 different karaoke apps. And then it's a bad moment because I'm sitting there going through all of it, and I'm realizing, yeah, man, these things have been emailing us. I just been like, what's Karaoke Kong? I don't care. I'm not going to open this one. Yeah.
And the worst part is, there's like a guy you had to lay off during the pandemic, and you're like, hey, Boosie, if we had just canceled these subscriptions, Todd would still have a job.
we were looking at some of the things, and I was like, oh my God, yeah. There was one that like when we went to Vegas like 2 years ago, I signed up for, and I don't. It was kind of like it was almost like a Groupon for just Vegas. Like it would just pop up like, oh, this is a Palms gift for this. And it was so slick because it was $1.99 a month if it was inactive. And then if you wanted to activate it, it was like $9.99. So when I stopped with after the 7-day trial, I didn't realize I inactivated it. I didn't cancel it.
Ooh,
and so it's just taking
just dropped it $2 rather than
And I'm like,
that's how they get you. $1's not a much. It's not something you're going to notice. Now, I had a point in my life where I would notice a $2 charge in my debit card because usually that would put me in overdraft at the wrong time of month. When you
I had a point when Hulu was going to put me into overdraft. Yeah, I was like, I can't watch these movies.
See, how about you? This True Bill thing would get me in trouble. I mean, if my wife was looking at it, going, what is this? Broadway Stars Gone Wild. What are you doing over?
Whoa, Scott, your wife has access to your accounts?
We have a joint account. Of course.
Gross. How long have you been married?
3 years. 3 years.
You haven't earned that.
How do you get her a surprise for any like holiday without her like seeing like, or does she just think you shop at Victoria's Secrets for yourself all the time?
I make her shop for herself. Come on, I'm like, you just
how romantic.
No, I've got my own credit card, but the everything else is joint. So I've got the one credit card.
Do you guys sit down together and go over the bills?
No. We sit down together and she goes over the bills with me. I just listen like a bystander.
Have you ever seen something scrolling down and you're like, oh God.
I put that on the other credit card, Miguel. Yeah. No, I mean, I can't surprise her with a big gift because we have to do research on everything. Like those stupid car commercials where like the husband gets his wife a car. Like, first of all, who does that? Not me, because I can't even buy a vacuum cleaner without my wife's input in that.
Don't ever buy anyone. Those commercials, don't ever buy anyone a car without their input. That's the one thing. That's one of the things that you like jewelry. You should know what the person likes, and it doesn't have a lot of features, so that's cool. But a car, don't be that D-bag to be like, I know exactly what you want, unless the other person's been telling you exactly what they want.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know. I might do it. I might do it for baby's mama. I might buy her a car, and I'll be like,
you probably know what she's
1988 Honda Civic. She's like, but I had a 2021 Rogue. Well, we're all living in the past now, aren't we? This
trade-in was great.
That's what you have now. And can I show you my new Lexus with the seat warmers? Because it's been cold lately, and I hate scraping ice off the PT Cruiser. That's ridiculous to live in Florida and have to like heat up the car before you can drive.
Yeah, nobody's prepared for it. I still got the AC going though when I'm driving because I'm Florida. Like the heat. Yeah. I don't think I've ever put the heat on the car I have now. It's either off or air conditioned going.
Oh man, I walked out a week ago and had to use my Dietzerland. Thank you so much, Scott Maffei. My Dietzerland game card to scrape the ice off my windshield so I could drive. I actually put a video of it on my TikTok. And then today when I went out there, it was the same thing. Not as bad, but the grass was frosted over and I had some ice on the windows. And here's the thing. Like I got the 2021 Rogue, but I drive it very infrequently because the kid's mom has that for taking the kids back and forth to school. Like that's the safe car. So I'm out there. I had the 2011 Nissan Versa, but I got to put a new catalytic converter on that. So I'm back to driving the PT Cruiser that's been held together with Band-Aids for the past 10 years. And to go from, if you're listening and you have a crappy car and the good car, sometimes you just forget which car you're in. Like the Rogue has that thing where it has the mirrors where if there's a car in the lane next to you, the red arrow pops up and starts bleeping. So if you go to signal, it will make a sound or it will vibrate if you try to go into a lane that's already occupied. Sometimes when I'm driving the Cruiser and it's early in the morning, I'm not a morning person, I forget the Cruiser doesn't have that. So I can't see out the windows because they're frosted over, and I just start drifting, and you don't see a little beep beep, but you hear a semi horn almost take off the side of your car, and you're like, all right, now I'm awake. Forget the coffee, and I need new pants. This is ridiculous. Yeah.
I used to have a car that the key would come right out once you turned the ignition on, the key would just come right out of it. And sometimes I wouldn't put it all the way in. I wouldn't turn the car all the way off, so I wouldn't have to put the key back in. And then when they came out with like keyless entry, I was like, I was ahead of all that.
I had
keyless.
I think it was an '89 Escort that you could literally start with a penny. You could just put a penny in the ignition. And my roommates knew that. So like whenever they'd be like, hey, I'm borrowing your keys, they would just reach into the change drawer by the door, the little change dish we had, and like just mockingly pick up a quarter or something. I'm like, come on, man. At least fake it. At least make it look. So you and the wife are pretty good with money. I mean, you live in a mansion now in the nice part of town. So
we're really good with money. Yeah, we're really good with money. We don't spend a lot, and the stuff that we do spend, it's well talked about, it's well budgeted. But yeah, we're very good with money. I do have a funny car story. So you guys know that I was the mascot in high school, but what you don't know is I spray painted my car in high school.
Now, for those who don't remember, no, you were a mascot, which was a bee, right? Weren't you a bee?
It was a hornet. Yep.
Okay. Which is like a big
bee. Class it up. It was a bee.
It was a bee.
And a re-stickable bee.
You had, what kind of car was it?
It was a 1986 Ford Tempo.
And what year were you in high school? Like 93?
I graduated 98. So 94 to 98.
Okay. All right.
So when we bought this car, it was like a royal blue, but that model of Fords had these sunspots where like the sun had worn through the paint, and it was pink. So I had this blue car with these pink sunspots. So for homecoming, I spray painted it black and gold, had a nice little yellow racing stripe up the car.
How did that look? That's the end of the story.
I just wanted to bring it up.
This was a great, I thought this was like the epilogue.
He literally said, I got all the facts. Story,
he did.
And then told us nothing funny.
He did.
Story about your car.
I was giving you an opportunity to, I don't know.
And the funny thing is, I remember you telling me you painted the car. So I was thinking there was more to the story I didn't know. And
audience. So was our audience. They were like, ooh, we should have left that as a cliffhanger. And then because the story was over.
Yeah. Oh, well, we appreciate it, though.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
That's a great anecdote.
That's my contribution for the night.
Yeah. My grandfather was in World War II. Yep. That's all I know.
That's the end of the story.
Well, I think that's just as good a time as any to take a break. When we get back, I'm going to have Miguel try and explain football to me. So stay tuned right here on Real Laughs 104.1. Stand on this. So done at 28. Okay, here we go. Hey, welcome back, folks. You're still listening to Real Laughs right here on Real Radio 104.1. I'm Mike Hurley, joined in virtual studio tonight with my good friends Miguel Colon Jr. and Scott Maffei. Now, here's the thing. It's very well known. I'm not what you call a sports guy, okay? I come from a sports family. My brother played baseball in high school. My younger brother played basketball in high school. My father played football in high school. And I played gangster number 3 in the spring production of Guys and Dolls. My dad used to tell me all the time, he's like, I can't believe I gotta go tell my friends at work I have a thespian for a son. And I'm like,
I can't be a thespian if he's a boy. He's
he's like, I want you to follow my footsteps, not run around in ballet slippers. I'm like, they're called character shoes, Dad. Okay.
What was your dad? How was your dad with you doing plays? Did he go to the plays and stuff like that?
He busted my chops a lot, but very, very happy and proud with what I did.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
that's
especially
cool. That's the cool part, because your dad's gonna bust your chops on anything. That's what dads are gonna do. And it's just when you see him when you're doing that play like you did, and you look and there's your dad. It doesn't matter if he's having the worst time in the world. When you see that your dad came to something, you're like, cool.
Yeah, and my dad was one of those guys where he's still alive. I still got him, knock on wood. the way this year's going. But he was one of those guys. He was a jock, but he was also a musician. He played guitar, and sang and stuff like that. So I think with my brothers, he saw that side of him, like the sports and everything. And with me, he saw like the artistic side. Yeah. And then it was always that thing. He's like, how come you don't want to play football, Mike? How come you don't want to play football? You don't want to go run around on the field, and you want to go do theater and sing and dance around. I'm like, so wait a minute, you're asking me why I don't want to go run around and have like 9 sweaty men try to grab me and tackle me to the ground. Meanwhile, I get my own dressing room and I'm making out with a makeup girl in the back with no vision. I'm like, I get my own solo, and he was just really supportive of what I did. And it's kind of funny because my brothers, sports family. So we're talking my mom and dad with my little brother. They were like on the board of my city's little league. And, he was on the like minor league scout list for the Cardinals and stuff like that. And my older brother was all baseball. So it's just kind of funny that years later, I got into college on a full acting scholarship, and my dad was like, they give scholarships for that? I'm like, yeah. And here we are. And then I went
like an acting scout come to your house. He's like, listen, Mike, there's a lot of schools out there that are gonna want you, but when I saw you in Guys and Dolls and I clocked you, Mike, I clocked you across the stage 7 seconds. I had to, we haven't seen that since Pharrell Montoya,
And listen, this year we're doing West Side Story, so you could have your run at Tony.
We're doing Fiddler on the Roof, and you could be a Jew or a Russian. You have a very Gonzo-like character, ethnic. We don't know what you are, so you work either way. You play both.
You're going to be a redshirt freshman the first year, so you're going to be sitting on the bench just watching. But I see a lot of potential with you. We're just going to have you pee in the cup and make sure you're good to go. I'll teach you a couple tricks to beat that, and you should be good.
Yeah, my dad tells me all the time. He's like, I still can't figure out how you've made it this far in life, but you don't call me looking for money. So congratulations, you're doing okay.
Who would have guessed the magician actor would be with so much stability?
He's like, I got 3 boys. I wanted doctors. I wanted lawyers. Congratulations, you don't live at home. You're my success story. I'm like, nice.
This one.
And it's great because he tells my other brothers when I'm not around, he's like, I don't know how your brother does it. He's just stupid and lucky. He just keeps stepping in things. Whenever I'm around, he's telling me, you worked hard for everything you got. When I'm not around, he's just telling my brothers, like, no, it's not your fault, your failures. Your brother be a failure too, but God smiles on him for some reason.
He's got a horseshoe up his butt or something. I don't know.
That's really supportive of you. Thanks, Dad. But hey, but we're getting off track here, but that's what we do around here. My thing I wanted to bring up is I'm one of those guys. I'm not really into sports. I hate baseball. Soccer bores me. Don't ask me to watch golf. The only thing you can really get me hooked on is kind of playoff football and playoff hockey. Now, when something is like on the line, or like I love, what was it? Was it 4 or 5 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, that Tom Brady had the second half comeback? I don't think I've ever seen a better sporting event. That he had to make every single one of those plays to come back, and he did. Was that against the Ravens? Was that the Ravens that year?
The Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh man, that was great. So like I'm kind of getting a little invested into like wanting to see these teams play, and I like Patrick Mahomes, so I'm like, all right, cool. I got someone in the fight. I want to see this. But then one of those shocking things, I'm sure your phones blew up too, like Tom Brady retires. So automatically I was writing all these jokes about Tom Brady retiring. And then I woke up in the morning and Tom Brady's not retired. So then I hear what happened was Tom Brady probably mentioned to some people close to him that he was done this season. But there's something in his contract, and maybe one of you guys know this a little better than me. There's something in his contract where if he retires before Friday, he loses a $15 million
bonus.
Okay, so you guys both sports guys or not really?
And with the bonuses, they're weird because you look at Antonio Brown, he retired without, or he left.
I guess you call it retirement. He's like, I'm going to party with Kanye in Vegas. Hold my shirt.
I've seen guys walk away from bonuses that it's I don't know why, because especially when like you're not going to be playing any more games, really, it's like that's the bonus. Keep that. With Tom Brady's, when I heard that he retired, And I heard the same day from like mutual people that we know, it was all over like Facebook. Like he walked away from $15 million bonus. I thought there's got to be something to it. And then I found out he didn't retire. People were just saying he retired. And then I was like, oh, okay. So my man still got a job till Friday.
From what I've understood
on Saturday.
Because like, yeah, an ESPN reporter leaked it. And from what I'm understanding is that he probably told some people closest to him, like his family, close friends, that he's like, yeah, this is it. Then that got leaked because everybody's trying to scoop that story.
Yeah.
And then people from his own team were on Twitter. Even Patrick Mahomes was like, hey, congratulations, blah, 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 blah. People on his own team were on Twitter saying, hey, thanks for playing, great team. Blah. And then he came out, or his people came out and said, oh, no. He hasn't even made a decision yet. And I think it was one of those things where it's like, hey, guys, I told you I was retiring. You weren't supposed to let anyone know.
Yeah.
All we got to do is keep my mouth shut till Friday. I know I'm like the richest guy in the world right now and don't have to worry about anything. But $15 million is more than most people make in a lifetime.
Right.
You can do
stay at work till Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell, when my job offers me like extra pay, I'll stick around till Friday. It's not a big deal. But
to not even have to work.
Yeah. I hope we find out more information about this leak because Tom Brady's not even in the country right now, and wouldn't be making that phone call to what's his name, Lynch, the GM, saying, hey, I'm out. He wouldn't be calling from Mexico or wherever he's at. So I'm curious about this leak.
That being said, I haven't made a decision. It's the furthest thing from my mind. Saturday morning comes around. He's like, hey, guys, I'm done. Yeah. Once that check, he's going to look at his Cash App or his True Bill and be like, oh, it was deposited.
This is $15 million. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
how
you guys
long would you stay at the worst job you ever had for like $15 million?
Oh man, I don't think I've had any job so bad that I wouldn't stick around for 15 million.
Yeah, I've never had anything that I wouldn't be like 15 million. Yeah, I'd be like, I mean, and still, that's not even chump change to him, even though he's, it's not $1 million, which even though that's still a lot, it's 15 million. So it's still important cash to him.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about retirement.
How are you guys feeling about the Super Bowl? Are you excited, or do you kind of feel like, these are two teams that I wasn't really too
I'm happy the Bengals are in. They need that. Yeah, that's cool for them, man. I mean, because I've known Bengal fans my whole life, and they've been proud for no reason. And so, as a Jets fan, whenever I see losers get their shining moment, I'm like, it could happen. It can happen.
Keeps the dream alive.
Yeah,
Mike, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about both teams. I was pulling for the Rams after they beat the Bucks because I had Cooper Kupp on my fantasy team, so I always like to root for the guy who helped me win a championship. And if the playoffs are any indication to how the Super Bowl is going to be, this is going to be a really good Super Bowl because these playoffs have been unbelievable. But yeah, I'm excited about both teams.
And Miguel, I wish Ken was here because I've been watching all of his posts. You got to be excited just for the halftime show this year.
Oh my God, the halftime show is my childhood. It basically they got my letter. Years later, it finally arrived. Just like this letter I wrote in 1995, and they're like, "Hey, wait a second, this kid really wants to see Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre and Eminem. Let's make it happen."
It's just amazing to me how, what was it? We had who was it? Adam Levine and Maroon 5. Was it 2 or 3 years ago now? 2 years ago? 3 years ago. Where it was that whole kind of boycott the halftime show thing, where it was like, so to go from 3 years ago, boycott and just Adam Levine walking around in his off the wall flash tattoos, pick 5 for $150, to now being back at this point where you have like literally legends of hip hop
legends.
It's gonna be amazing, man. I'm excited for it.
One of my favorite things that I've been seeing, and I don't mean to say favorite because it's like a down note, but have you guys been reading the stories about how like LA police are so worried about everything that's going to happen in the Super Bowl because they don't have enough police officers, and they're worried. There's lots of cops who aren't working right now in LA. They fear there's all this fear, and one of the quotes, it was so sensational. It was like, "Get ready for the murder bowl," and I was like, okay, like. I thought they were worried about a little theft and stuff, but there's like tons of worry I'm gonna look this up right now. LA worries about Super Bowl.
Isn't LA pretty much anytime there's a major sporting event? Like, isn't that where we get all the video footage of flipping cars and garbage cans on fire and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And the Rams are playing in their home stadium. It's only the second time in history that's happened. The first time was last year. So yeah, that place is going to go nuts, especially if the Rams win.
LA pondering stronger policing policies ahead of Super Bowl. LA County Sheriff says the Super Bowl will draw human trafficking.
What?
Yeah.
Are you getting this from Fox News?
I'm getting it from everywhere. I do know why they say that things like the Super Bowl draw human trafficking. I remember them bringing this up too. It's because they people do bring in escorts and strippers from all over, and they do pump in there's always a concern of human trafficking at big events like this. So that being said, get ready for the Murder Bowl featuring Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem.
So all that aside, do you feel like there's one team edging it out just strictly on talent?
I think the Rams have a lot of advantage. Or not Rams, excuse me, man. The Rams. I think the Rams have a lot of advantage going into this.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Bengals win, man. Just for all my Bengals fans out there, man. But if you're gonna ask me where, I'm gonna say the Rams.
I agree 100%. I think the Rams have been so good all year. Their defense is fantastic. Matt Stafford has been revitalized. I mean, he's been a stud. Cooper Kupp. They got Cam Akers back. I think Cincinnati, as good as they've played and as much of a stud as Joe Burrow is, it's Joe Burrow. It is the Joe Burrow show. And I think they just kind of snuck their way in. But it should be a good game.
So how are you the type of guys? Are you guys doing Super Bowl parties and stuff like that? Are you in any pools? What are you doing?
I always get in on a pool. There's no reason for me not to. It's always fun, man. You know, buying in on Super Bowl pools. I'm not going to make any straight bets or make any bets online or anything like that. But I'll buy in on some pools. But I don't really go to Super Bowl parties as much as I used to when I was younger. It was a big deal when I was younger. You know, somebody was always throwing a good party. This year,
not a big deal at the Sausage Castle. Do they?
We used to throw before COVID. We used to do the Sausage Bowl, and what we would get is we'd get retired NFL players who, you know, guys who were like nose tackles and offensive line guys. And what we would do is we had it was a $5,000 flag football game with 6 teams. So each team plays 2 quarters, and then you flip, and then at the end there's a final game. But AJ Francis used to always come on and be one of the quarterbacks. But we would get all these retired NFL players to be the quarterback for your flag football team, and then they team up. We had jerseys and everything. Then with COVID, when it really came about, the first year, the second year, 2002, last year, 2022, we didn't have one. And then this year, Mike's going to a wedding in Mexico, so I was like, let's not have one. It's just not. It's just something else for me. Not
just a lot of work.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, I wish you guys the best of luck in whoever you're going for. Hey, guys, we got to take a quick break right here on Real Laughs. When we get back, Disney's opening a new hotel in March, and we're going to talk a little bit about it right here on Real Laughs 104.1. Stay tuned. In 5 seconds. 28. Welcome back, folks. You're still listening to Real Laughs right here on Real Radio 104.1. I am Mike Hurley, joined in virtual studio with Miguel Colon Jr. and Scott Maffei. Now, Scott, I am so glad you are with us tonight because I know you're a fan of Disney. I'm a fan of Disney. Miguel, I know you've done the theme parks. You've worked on Disney property. There's something, I guess maybe I just was distracted or I haven't been paying enough attention, or I just thought it was so far down the line. The Star Wars resort that Disney is opening up, it's still set to open in March, I believe, and that's
March 1st.
March 1st. So they're still on track for it's the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Resort. Now, Scott, they're still on track. It looks like March is going to be the opening.
Yeah, I've got friends who are cast members there, and from all I hear, everything's looking good. They're doing some soft openings. Some people that I know have been inside the resort. Now it's not gonna have a pool. It's not gonna be, that fun foo-foo resort. It is a immersive Star Wars experience where they have characters running around and giving you assignments and tasks. Like you're not on vacation, you're working. You are working for the Rebel alliance or whatnot. And then
can you work for the Galactic Empire or just have a regular job? Be like, hey, I work for the Galactic Empire. What do you do?
Food service.
Yeah, food service, man.
I collect the trays when the stormtroopers leave them. Yeah, that's.
I had a horrible dream. I had a dream, guys, once when I was a server, and it was in that point where I was just server bartender trapped, and I was like, am I going to do anything else? And I had a dream that there was like some end of the war scenario, and people were fighting on Earth, like some sort of aliens. And I went to go get my job, and they were like, "You're in charge of the cafeteria," and I was like, "I am still a server." I was like, I remember telling my family about it, but my sister was making fun of me forever because I was like, end of the world, it's apocalypse situation. We're fighting intergalactic aliens, and I'm literally working at the Aramark Cafe. Like, you want some mashed potatoes, baby? You know?
Yeah. I think it was a Family Guy whenever they do their Star Wars parody. Someone brings up, they're like, "Yeah, when you blew up the Death Star, you know, a ton of people on that were just contractors, just there to do work, had no side one way or the other. You know, just custodial guys. Can't go home to the families now. You
there was a tile guy.
Proud of yourself." Yeah,
just some dude laying tile. Best child, brought his son to work that day. You know, you want to come and see the Death Star, Papa? I'd love to.
I'm the guy that put in the mechanism that makes the doors go.
Yeah, there was like a galactic field trip. All right, everybody, stick with your buddies. This is the new Death Star. Everybody, say hi to Moff Gideon. Hey, guys.
Nobody talks about that. The day that the rebels blew it up, it was take your son and daughter to work day. Oh, such a sad day for the Empire.
Never forget.
But here's what I've heard about the resort so far. First of all, like Scott, you were saying, it's not just a go, stay, hang out at the pool. You got to do a 2-day, 2-night stay. That's the only way they're doing the packages.
Yep.
Now, the packages, I've only seen some artistic renderings of the rooms and whatnot. The rooms really look kind of like, what was that movie with Bruce Willis, Fifth Element? It looks very Fifth Element. Like, it's not a huge, I'm sure there's different levels of rooms, but the artistic rendering I saw was for like 2 adults and 2 children. And there were 2 adult beds. And then 2 little, like almost what you would see on a train, like the bunk beds set up on the side. But the pricing, and now remember, here's the thing. You're not just paying to stay at a Disney resort. Your pricing also includes this whole experience that they're putting you through, this immersive experience. I think it was starting at $4,000 for a couple. And like $5,000 for a family of 4, something like that. Am I getting those prices anywhere?
Yeah, it's like $3,000 to $6,000 for the
to work
experience.
for 2 days in fake space.
Well, you get bussed over to Galaxy's Edge. You get to ride Smuggler's Run one day, and then Rise of Resistance the other.
You don't get free passes to the whole park at that price?
No, it's just Galaxy's Edge.
Wow. And Miguel,
I want to go to the
Miguel, you got to realize the people who can afford to go to this, the work part is the fun thing. They're like, oh my God, normal people. So we're paying $3,000 to $6,000 to experience what people experience all the time. Oh, how do they complain so much? I really enjoy my shift.
We're all living in a room together like an Italian. So this is crazy.
So when you say immersive experience, okay, I've seen that, like when you basically look out your hotel room, it's like looking out into space. Is that going to be correct?
There's no, from what I've heard, there's no windows. It's not like, you're outside walking in this.
It's like a Vegas casino, no windows, no clocks. Once you're in, you're in. You lose all track of time.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're not spending a whole lot of time in your room. Again, it's not like a vacation weekend. It's a fully immersive.
There's no like sleeping in.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's not. Like, there's probably an itinerary where you're getting up and doing your rebel job.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of like Westworld. Remember that 70s movie?
Yeah.
The series. So it's like Westworld. It's an immersive thing, but I feel like there's a lot to go wrong. Like you're going to get locked in there. Something's going to happen. The anti-gravity machine's going to go on the fritz. There's not going to be enough food. It's going to be like a cruise line where you're locked in there and all of a sudden there's a contamination. They need to keep you all in the hotel.
What have you heard any idea of what the jobs and stuff you'll be doing there is?
It's from what I'm hearing, it's more like tasks. Like you'll walk by a character, and your My Disney Experience app or whatever app is linked to the Star Cruiser thing, it's going to kind of give you a task, and you get points or whatever because you spoke to this person, and they send you on little missions. You're not like washing dishes, not that kind of job. But you
might be looking for a spy or something who's in this room.
or you know, kind of like an escape, a puzzle thing, or so. I don't know, but
I'm excited for the Jabba's Palace experience, where it's just dancing girls and getting drunk with bounty hunters, and I'm like, Jabba, this is lit, man. He's like, and I'm like, I can do that later. That's cool, man. Yeah, my wife won't know. You know? Bring me some more slave layers. Bring me some more slave layers. This is great. This is great.
You know, here's the thing about Star Wars. I'm not even a huge fan of it. Like, I'm just not. It's not that I don't like it. I enjoy it. But I think one year, like, my kid saw when my oldest was probably 3 or 4, he saw some Star Wars toys. So I kind of sat down and watched the first Star Wars with him. So then his mom bought me the first Star Wars on DVD for like some Father's Day or something. I was like, oh, okay, Star Wars.
You got lumped into it.
And then for Christmas, she got me the second one. She's like, well, I figured you had the first one. I'm like, did you not see my face on the first one? Yeah. And then that led to 9 more films. So like every holiday, it's like, oh.
This is my belief on Star Wars films. There's only 4 Star Wars. Yeah, there's only 4 Star Wars films, in my opinion. There's A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Rogue One, and then there's The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and then everything else is a fever dream. Yeah. Today, yeah, all day.
How about you, Scott? You a Star Wars guy or no?
I am. I am more of a Marvel guy than I am Star Wars. I used to be really into Star Wars, but now all these Disney Plus Marvel series has me distracted. Like I'm behind. I haven't watched Book of Boba Fett yet, but I've seen all the other stuff. But yeah, I like Star Wars, but I'm more like Miguel, where I like it. I don't know. It's good, but I'm distracted by Marvel.
Yeah. Do you think there's ever a situation where you're going to take the family over to stay at this resort?
No. I mean, unless they run a great Florida residence discount. That's a lot of money for a 2-day experience.
Scott, we should go and pretend we're part of like the quest. And we're like,
and start giving assignments.
Yeah. Oh, you found me. This quest, I'm going to need, your Cash App password.
You must leave the space station, run down to Chick-fil-A on I-4, bring back 2 number 2s. No, Scott, you want 3 number 2s.
But it's Sunday.
I don't know. I'd like to give it a shot. Yeah, man. I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I don't know if you guys have had the experience yet. I had a little bit of a cold thing going on last week, and it stinks that you can't just get a cold anymore and have a cold. Like the first thing that goes through your head is it COVID? So I went to go get tested, and the place I usually get tested is now only doing reservations only, and then the other place was only doing 24-hour testing. I'm like, man, I want to know now. So I went to Walgreens and I got those self-test kits. Have you guys got to deal with those yet?
I've done a couple of those.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is that I think it was because the pharmacist talked it up so much, like be very careful, be really hard. I think they talk it up to make you think that their jobs are important, like you should have a medical degree. Because when I got home, I'm like, oh, you stick it in your nose and then you stick it in there. Okay, I got this. But they oversold it at like how hard it was going to be. Like, look, dude, I passed like 6th grade chemistry. I'm fine. This is going to be good.
Do you want the YouTube link to watch how to do this?
Yeah, they had the little scanner thing. But I will say, sitting there waiting for that line to appear or not appear was one of those moments. And then I was like, I don't have COVID. But then I was like, but I'm still sick. I still don't feel good. I just don't have COVID.
I had to waste
You're gonna go ahead. Sorry,
I had to waste one of my COVID tests. Yesterday I just wasn't feeling good, and I was like, let me check and see, because you're like, I don't want to go to work. And today I just wasn't feeling good, but it wasn't COVID. But it's like, oh man, it's a $19 test.
$25 for 2. Yeah. James was telling me today, because I talked to him about it at the studio. He was telling me that, like, when I went to Walgreens, they were like, oh, we can only give you 1 per household. I'm like, okay, well, I just need 1. But James was telling me the reason they're doing that is they got a guy down in Kissimmee. I'm sure there's people like this throughout the country that went out, bought a whole bunch of those self-test ones, and he's just on the side of 192 in Kissimmee with, it says COVID test, and you pull up and he's selling them for $20 a pop. So he paid 25 for 2. He's selling for $20 a pop. He's making $15. And James said people were lined up to take them.
I'm gonna
Brilliant
just have
business
pregnancy
model.
tests out of the box in a plastic bag, and I'm like, COVID test, you pee on it.
Yeah.
You're like, if
I
I got
like
a
it.
plus, does that mean I got COVID? You got a plus, buddy? Yeah. Oh, well, that's a bigger deal.
Well, guys, we got a few minutes here. Scott, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Real quick, where can they find the No New Friends podcast, and how often are you guys recording right now?
Well, we record once a week. Our episodes come out 7 p.m. every Sunday evening. We've got our website, nonewfriendspodcast.com, and we're streaming on every podcast platform imaginable.
Nice. And who's on the podcast with you? Now with you? Is it still you and Mary?
Myself, Mary and Chris.
And Chris, who? I don't think I've ever met Chris.
Chris is really funny. We met him just randomly. He lives in New Jersey, but he kind of younged up the show a little bit. He's a little bit younger than us.
Mhm.
So we're appealing more to that millennial crowd. But he's been on Real Laughs. I was at a wedding, and both Mary and Chris got to come on one week while you were out, I think.
Oh, well, okay
That was
then.
Ken, Jeff, Chris, and Mary.
And do you have, like, if nobody's listened to your podcast before, do you have like one episode you would recommend to kind of get the feel for what you guys are all about?
Yeah, the Smiling Coast of Africa and Other Internet Scammers.
The Smiling Coast of Africa and Other Internet Scammers. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's a really funny one where Chris encountered a scammer on Instagram and had a little fun with him. So it's a really, really funny episode. And then this last episode that we just did, we love BJ's and Costco. Really funny.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. Both
And
of those things are fun.
Miguel Colon Jr., I know you got a busy February right around Valentine's Day coming up, but you got a bunch of shows actually this February. What you got going on this month, man?
February 14th and 16th, not February 14th through 16th, but February 14th and 16th. I will be at Vistani's Comedy Theater in Port Charlotte. And trust me, when James texts me that, I love James Yon, but there are tons of times where James Yon kind of hits me up with a, hey, we got a show on this date. And then he's like, no, I'm sorry, it was this date. And then he forgets. So when he said 14th and 16th, like 8 times, I was like, do you specifically mean those 2 days or through those 2 days?
Yep. And usually it's a through those. Yeah.
So I will be at Vistani's Comedy Theater. And then February 20th, I will be at the Orlando Improv doing a show there with, I've got Jeff Kaufman, Morgan Gallo, Sean Madden, Dwayne Williams, and Marcus Crespo. And I'm going to be kind of hosting that one. It's going to be a good show, and everybody's invited to come out.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, I'm actually not anywhere this week. I think the 10th of this month, I'm going to be over at the beer garden down in, what is it?
Down by me on Bumby or something?
Yeah, that's a Thursday night, so I'll be over there. And then, what else do I got? Oh, at the end of the month, I'll be out in Lakeland at the Winter Circle, Bill Alcock's place. I love that room. And then the Saturday following that Friday, I will be at Daytona Live in Daytona Beach, Florida. So come on out, check that out. That's always a good time. I love doing shows in Daytona, man. There's just
Daytona Live is great too.
Yeah, there's just something about it. Well, that's our show for tonight. As always, folks, you can listen to this show and all our past shows on the iHeart app, or you can check us out on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you can get podcasts. Just look up Real Laughs. We will be there. On behalf of myself, Mike Hurley, my good friend Miguel Colon Jr., and Mr. Scott Maffei, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night.